I'm back. Are you ready for some playtime? Hi everyone, Cristin Som here, and I am back from vacation and ready to continue with our Jingle All the Way quilt. So ready for fun, I hope you are too. So we have a pretty easy day, a little bit of a stretch. We'll talk about what we're gonna do today. So we're going to work on the border blocks for section 1. So we've been working on section 1, and for those that are caught up and have done the previous 2 videos, we have 2 of the Jingle All the Way blocks. I gave you the option of only doing 1 if you prefer, but those overachievers, most of us have 2 of these already done. So 2 of the Jingle All the Way blocks, and then also 2 of the 9 patch blocks. That's what we have so far for section 1, and then also for later for those extra pieces, for the extra blocks. So we're going to work on the border blocks today. There are 2 of them, and they're pretty simple, but some little stuff to talk about for this one. So let's grab your packet if you made a packet. So border blocks for section 1, they're on page 13. You can see I wrote the page number on my little blue tape here. So page 13 of our book. So keep in mind that my book is different than some other books. Mine is the oldest book. So mine is on page 13 where it says sewing the quilt together is where you want to look for the specifics, but you really don't need them. I'm going to share all the information here. So whatever works for you. So the first one, so the border blocks, I numbered them differently than the book. I don't think they're even numbered in the book actually, but on the prep video, I went over the border blocks. So I'm going to talk about those 2 of those today. We're going to work on 2 of them for section 1. So the first one, our first border block is this green with holly leaves, holly berries on it. All right, it's a pretty busy fabric and it's a big fabric. Look at this one, it's big. All right, now I mentioned in the prep video that on the border blocks, I recommend cutting them a 1/2 inch larger if you have enough fabric. And if not, that works out fine. It's not a problem at all. You're going to lay it down on your batting. But if you have the option to cut it a little bit bigger, it just makes it so that when we do that tack down, our basting stitch around it, it will hold it in, whereas it won't if it's exactly the right size. All right, so up to you. So on this one, in the book, it says to cut it 2.5 by 16.5 for this very large piece of border fabric, 2.5 by 16. But remember, I recommend cutting it a 1/2 inch larger. So my recommendation is 3 by 17, if you're able to, 3 by 17. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's completely optional, up to you. It is going to be on batting, but we are going to quilt this. So 3 by 17 is my recommendation. And then for the batting, same thing, 3 by 17 for your batting. Even if you did not cut your border fabric a little bit bigger, still cut your batting to 3 by 17. All right, 3 by 17. If you're going to, so I should mention this. So I'm going to show you how to do it just like the inner borders, because you can see this is a really big piece of fabric. So there isn't a quilting design that is 16 inches long. You could do 2 of the 8s, merge them together, but then you don't want that, that outer border, what's it called, the basting stitch. You don't want that to go over your fabric. So there would be some adjustments, but the easiest thing I think is to just do 2 by 8 twice. All right, 2 by 8 twice is what I'm going to do. So on this one, I'm going to use Christmas 5, I think it was called Christmas 5. It's in the Jingle All the Way quilting bundle, and it's the one with all the jingle words on it. I think that will be cute on this one. So Jingle 5, Christmas 5 jingle words on it in a 2 by 8. So really you can use any quilting design that you want that is 2 by 8, and we're going to do it twice. All right, so that will be important. So you could, if you wanted, I'm going to just do it the original way, but since it's like the inner borders, you could attach your batting on first. It's up to you. I don't think I will. Although since we're doing it like the inner borders, I might. So if you do that, then you don't want 3 by 17 batting, you want 2 by 16 batting. All right, so I might change my mind on that. I'm not sure yet. I think it might be easier since we need to do 2 of them. I think I will do that. So I'm going to change my mind on that. So you want your batting to be 2 by 16 if you're going to glue it onto, or glue or spray, whatever you do for your fabric. All right. If you're going to attach it ahead of time, then you want your batting to be 2 by 16. You want it to be the exact size so that it's not in your seams when you sew these together. All right. So either way, And we'll go over all of this step by step. If I'm confusing you, don't worry too much. All right, so like I said, Christmas 5 in a 2x8 quilting design. That's the one I'm going to use. You can use any quilting design that's 2x8, all right, for this first border block. All right, and then our second border block, we're going to do the second one today as well. These are the only 2 border blocks that we need for section 1, and then once we sew them all together, we'll have all of section 1 complete. How fun is that? All right, so for border block number 2, it is this white with black fabric, white with black dots fabric, all right, white with black dots. And we want this to be, let's see, 3x7. Yep, 3x7 if you did it bigger. So in the directions, it'll say 2.5 by 6.5, and that will work fine as well. My recommendation is to cut it a little bit bigger so that we get that tack down. And so then you would need a 3x7. All right, 3x7 for your fabric. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's up to you. And then for your batting, same thing, 3x7. All right, 3x7 for your batting. And again, if you're going to do it that way that we do our inner borders, which you don't need to on this one, but you have that option. If you want to have the batting be part of the border block, then we would take out those first 2 steps. I'll show you through that in the part of the video that we talk about the software. So if you do that, then you want your batting to be 2x6, all right, 2x6 for your batting, or 3x7 if you're going to do it the regular way. Either way will work fine. All right, now I want to point out something. So on this one, see how this fabric is pretty busy, right? It's pretty busy. This one's not too bad. White with black dots, not too bad. So I'm going to add to this. It's totally optional. You do not need to do that, but you have the option to do it. There's actually not a whole lot of border blocks on this quilt that doesn't have super busy fabric. So I think we should take advantage of it while we can. So one other thing to mention, if you're going to add to this, when we sew it together, it's going to be like this. All right, so it kind of limits our options. If it were that way, we'd have a little bit more options. This way makes it a little bit more difficult to find something to do, but I came up with something that I think will be fun. Totally up to you. You can leave it as is. You can add to it. Totally up to you. But I'm going to bring you over to the computer and show you what I have in mind, and show you how to merge the 2 together in one hooping if you choose. And it's going to be interesting since this one's so big, but like I said, we're just going to do a double hooping, and I'll walk you through all of that step by step. So let's go over to the computer and talk about what we can do to that border block if you want to add to it. One thing also I want to mention is the design that I'm going to create on that border block. I'm going to go ahead and send it to everyone that's already made a donation toward our tutorials to help support our efforts with these tutorials. So if you've already made a donation, keep a lookout in your email. Make sure that you have given me your email address so that I can send this to you. I need your email address and the format that your machine uses. I'm going to do a simple design, but I am going to send this out to the people that have already made a donation. If you haven't made a donation and you want to support this channel, you can always click on this link up here and add a donation from PayPal or from Venmo. The information is also underneath this video, but please, please, please include your email address so that I can reach out to you, and also the format that your machine is using. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now, and I'm going to quickly show you how to merge those 2 border blocks together in one hooping. And if you want to do a little stretch exercise, I'm going to show you what I have in mind, but you can do whatever you like. All right, so I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials, and I'm going to just initially show you some of the things that I was thinking. So I'm thinking I want to put the word believe, as you can see, and I went through all of I've got at least 150 embroidery fonts, and so I went through all of them just to see what I like. I came up with several, so I'm just going to show you those for now. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well, but first I just wanted to show you so that you could start getting an idea of what you like. All right, so this first one is from Baby K's, which is no longer in business now. Gemini Red bought the Baby K designs, so you can still get them on the Gemini Red embroidery website. All right, so this is Baby K's Pizza font, it's called, and it's in a 1-inch, and I just thought that was really fun and very Christmassy. I don't totally love the I, but all the other letters I think are so fun. So that's a good option. I did it in a 1-inch. I think I did have to shrink it down a little bit to get the final. So that's the first one. The second one that I really liked, this is also Baby K's. This one's called Rockwell, and that it's in a 1-inch as well, and it's basically just a block font. And don't forget that if you have Embellishment Essentials, it came with some native fonts that came with the purchase, and I think there is a block font in there if I recall. But anyway, this is one of the options. So Baby K's Rockwell, I thought that's really fun, and it stands out and it's nice and thick and pretty, and so that white with the black dots won't get too overwhelming. This would stand out pretty well. This is the third one. Now, this is the one I think I'm going to go with just because I think it's really cute. This is also Baby K's, and this one is Dollhouse. So I have fonts from everywhere. I mean, tons of different fonts, and it turned out that I liked a lot of the Baby K's ones. So don't forget, Baby K's is from Gemini Red. So if you want to get that design, you can purchase it from Gemini Red. So this is a Dollhouse font in 1-inch. Dollhouse from Baby K's Gemini Red. All right, and then number 4, this one is also Baby K, and it is Jambo. Jamboff, maybe. There's FFs in there too. But that's a cute one as well. I thought that was fun. And again, I tried this on so many fonts you can't imagine, just to see what I liked. And these were the final runners that I came up with. All right, number 5, this one is from Kelsey. This one is from Designs by Juju, and it's called Kelsey in a 1-inch. And that is super cute. I love that one too. That's a fun one. All right, and then number 6, this one is from Stitchtopia, and this is Maya number 1 in a 1-inch. So Maya, I use a lot, and so that's a really fun font from Stitchtopia. I like that as well. All right, so like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with this one. So I'm just going to show you how to do it, and then we can go from there. So I think I'll start with actually just the regular border block. So I'm going to create a new page. There's one right there. So you would go to File, New Page to open up a new tab. All right, and then check your hoop size. So I'm going to move this up just a tad. All right, so down here you can see your hoop size. So I'm on my 6x10 hoop, and you will need about a 6x10 to be able to get these two together. You can do them separately if you prefer, but the 6x10 should work to fit them both in. All right, so I'm going to start just with the basic the first border block, the first one. So I'm going to go ahead. One thing I forgot to mention is the quilting design for the second one. I'll talk about that when we get there. All right, so this first one, I'm going to go ahead and just bring in the quilting design. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to navigate to my Jingle All the Way quilting bundle, and I'm going to find the Christmas 5 right there. Christmas 5 embroidery files, block by block is the technique we're using, and then I use Pez for my machine, and we want a 2x8 design, and we're going to do it 2 times. So here it is. I'm going to double click on that. It goes to the center. All right, and that works great. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and I'm just going to move it over. I just want it all the way over to the side to make sure I have enough room for both of these. All right, let's see. Do I want to change these? I think I do. Yeah, because then I can get the quilting all together. So I'm going to go ahead and change these like we've done in pretty much every video. If we change these, then we can get it to join together. The parts that we want to join and the parts not to. So I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected. And I'm going to click on, now that I think about it, so 1 and 2, if you're going to do the 2x16 batting, then you can take out steps 1 and 2. So you would need to attach the batting onto the border block either with the glue stick or with the fabric spray to do it that way. Or you can go through the regular route, but I think it would be easier since we're going to double hoop. It will be easier to have the batting already attached onto this first border block. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So for you, you could click from the right and drag over to get steps 1 and 2, and you can just delete them. And then you don't have to change any of them because there's just blue, orange, and turquoise. I'm going to keep it in just to remind people to bypass it. And so I'm going to go ahead and change both of these since there's already a blue and an orange. I'm going to change these colors. So I'm just going to quickly click on 1, click on the color, and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up for me, which is dark aqua. And then 1, 2, click on the color, and I'm going to choose Blaze and say okay. And then you can see we've got blue, orange, and turquoise, and we don't need to make any other changes to that. All you will need is steps 3, 4, and 5. All right. So that one's already done. That was super easy. I'm going to do it just one time, and then we'll go through the process to do a double hooping. So that one is done. All right, so now I want to bring in the quilting design for the second border block. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File. I'm going to close up this Christmas 5, and I'm going to do lines 3. Lines 3. I want a very simple quilting design that's not going to stand out at all so that I can put that believe word on there and not have it be too busy. All right, so I'm going to do lines 3, and I'm going to go to Pez, and let's see, we got to decide if we want horizontal or vertical. I think I'm going to do horizontal where the lines will go like this. All right, and we want a 2x6 quilting design. Whatever quilting design that you want, that's 2x6. If you're going to add wording to it, I recommend something that's not too busy. So here's the horizontal design. I'm going to double click on that. It goes to the center, and I'm going to click on that design, and then I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move it over so that I have room for both of these. All right, so that's easy. Now I want the same quilting design, same colors as up here so that I can join them when I do a color sort. So again, you can click on 1 and 2. If you're going to add the batting on, you can click on 1 and 2 and just delete those. All right, and then you'll have blue, orange, and turquoise just like above here. Now keep in mind that the first one is on a green fabric, the second one is on a white fabric, so we're probably going to want this 1-5 to be different. And not have those two join. Again, I'm going to click on 1 and change it to dark aqua, and 2, 2, and change it to blaze so that they're the same as what I used up here. And then we have the blue and the orange, and then this turquoise. That's the one I was saying. If you don't change the color, then you need to use the thread color the same on both of these. And I'm pretty sure I'll probably use a green on the first one, not absolutely sure yet, but very likely a white on the second one so that it doesn't stand out. So I want to change this. So I'm going to click on 2-5, click on the color, and I'm going to change it to Sprout and say okay. And it doesn't matter what color you're choosing, you're just doing something so that it doesn't join. All right, click outside so nothing is selected, and those two are done, and you can be done at this point. All right, but I am going to add in that believe word. I think that would be really cute. So I'm going to go to right here, this letter design, create letters, click on that, and it comes out with the first I think it sometimes comes out with what you used last and sometimes just comes with the native font. So this is that block font. This would work great. You could use this. I'm going to click on this multi-line text because I want to make it vertical. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on I'm going to type in my believe word, but I need to type a return after each letter. All right. So we're just typing in whatever word that you want. I'm using believe, and then I'm hitting return after every letter. I'm going to click on set, and there's my believe word. All right, so now you can choose your font if you want. You can use the one that's here. That works fine as well. Or you can use one that you have purchased. When you purchase a design, you just take those BX files and transfer them to your workspace, and it automatically installs them for you. So it was BX Dollhouse, not BX, Baby K's Dollhouse. So I'm going to scroll up here. There's that Jamboff, there's Dollhouse. All right, so I'm going to click the 1 inch, and you can see it makes it very large, but I shrunk it down, so it should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use any of the corner, those black squares, any of those. You want to just shrink it down to the size that you think you'll need, and then put it in your block so that we can determine exactly the size. So I'm thinking probably like a 5 3/4. Oops. I'm going to click undo. So what happened there is I clicked not on the stitching of the letters, and so it got the quilting design behind it. All right, so let's see, I'm at 5 and 11/16, so that's perfect, but I do want to make sure that it is going to be centered in that design. So what I'm going to do, let's see if I can do this. If I click on 2 and hit the control button and click on 3 so that I've got my second quilting design and the believe word, and I'm going to go to utility, align and distribute, and I'm going to say center, center, apply. There we go. So it moved over to the right so that it's centered in that block perfectly. So that looks really good. So just check the sizing. Like I said, if I would recommend about 5 3/4. You don't want it to be a full 6 inches because we're going to sew that in. So we want to make sure we've got a little bit of space in between. So if I recall, I did mine at about 5 3/4. So mine's 5 and 11/16. So you can make it a tiny bit bigger to get that 5 and 12/16, whatever works for you. So that one looks great. I like that. All right. Very simple and pretty cursive-y font, scripty font, very cute. So I like that. That looks great. So now keep in mind, we need to do our color sort, but we're going to need to do this twice. So what I'm going to do, there's a couple things you could do. You could copy and paste this into another file and send a second file to your machine. I'm just going to do this one time, and then on the second, when I do my double hooping for that second round, I'm just not going to do the second part. I'm just going to have one file. Simple, simple. All right, so let's see. I want to do a color sort. Oh, so one other thing I want to point out. So my letters here, you could change the colors. Like if you wanted red, green, or whatever, if you wanted to change that might be fun too. So the jingle all the way, the jingle part is in different colors already in that same section 1. So you could have it be very simple and it'll stand out more, or you could have red, green. That would be fun. To do that, I'm just going to tell you how to do it real quick in case you decide to. I think I'm just going to do one color, but if you wanted to, so when you're on your color, so let's see here, you would have to, let's see. Oh, you'd have to do it in separate. So when we did this create letters, you would have to do it on however many of them you wanted to, because these are all together. These are all one item. Let's see if, I don't think you can do it from here. Yeah, because this is all one grouping. So you would have to do like BL, V in one color, and then do another set of letters and size it out. It's very doable, but you would have to add a little bit of work to that. I'm surprised we can't just change it. Color, no. They'd have to be separate. So they would have to be separate items, and then you would just line it up. It wouldn't be a big deal, but definitely have to be separate letters if you want to do the separate coloring. So that's an option to think of too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a utility color sort. And it thinks, and it changed it, took it away by 4 color changes. Make sure that you have the same settings as me, especially the tolerance at 0, and then click New View, and we'll check it to make sure it did everything the way that we're thinking. So I'm going to open up this. Let's see. There's our placement for our batting. And don't forget, you can take out steps 1 and steps 2, the placement and tack down of the batting, if you're going to attach your batting onto your border blocks. I'm going to leave it in just to remember to tell everyone to bypass it. All right, and then number 3, there's our placement for our main fabric. That's our border block fabric. And then the tack downs, if we made it a little bit bigger, like that 3x7 and 3x17 like I recommended, then it will do that tack down and it helps, and then we'll have to cut it down afterwards. All right, and then there's our first quilting design and our second quilting design, and then our believe wording. That's perfect. Exactly what I was hoping for. That worked out wonderful. So I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, make sure it's as so that it's different than the original file. And choose where you want it. Let's see, I'm going to look for my desktop. Where is it there? Jingle. There we go. Jingle all the way. That's the quilting bundle. I want the embroidery files. Pez, and I'm going to name this section 1. I'm going to name it section 1 borders. Border blocks. I don't think you want it too big. Too big. Section 1 border blocks. That's what I'm naming mine. Save. And then I'm going to send it to my machine. Send to Solaris XP1 and file sent to machine. If you don't have that option, just save it to a USB drive and bring that over to your machine. All right, so that's how to do a very simple little addition to that block. If you choose, you can do anything in there. And like I said, for those that have already made a donation to the Cristin Creates tutorials, I'm going to go ahead and send you that Believe file. I can send you the quilting, so you'll still have to do the quilting separate, but I will send you the Believe word that I created. All right, and now we're ready to get stitching. Hey everyone, real quick, I forgot to mention that if you want to have that second hooping a separate item, I'm going to show you how to do that. If you have not closed your tabs yet, which I already closed mine, so I'm going to have to redo a little bit, but so you would have tab 1 and tab 2, and tab 1 would have everything before you did that color sort. So if you still have that open, and like I said, I don't have mine, but if you do, then you would just click on this one design. So you can see mine are already grouped together, so it won't work for me. But you would just click on this one, do a copy and paste, or bring it in again, either way, and bring it to a new tab and then save it to have that be a separate item. You can absolutely, and this is what I was imagining at first, is you can absolutely just open this file again after you run your first hooping, run that, start the second hooping, and all it's going to do is it's going to print out this, or not print out, stitch out the placement and tack down, well, of the main fabric. So you would still have this, and then the rest you could just not stitch, but it's easy to just make a separate one. So whatever works for you. Again, if you haven't closed it yet, closed your Embrilliance, then you would have that tab 1 that has everything before you did the color sort, and so you would just copy and paste that one file. So that would be the easiest. So I'm going to go to File, New Page, and I'm just going to bring in that quilting design again. And let's see here, it is, all right, so Christmas 5, I'm looking for a 2x8 right there. Hasn't populated yet, there it is. All right, and then I don't need to make any changes to it because that's the only item on this file and don't need to do a color sort or anything. Don't forget that you can absolutely take out these first 2 steps, the placement and tack down of the batting, if you are going to add the batting onto your border block, which I recommend since we need to do a double hooping. But either way, this one is ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and just send this to my machine. And again, you can just do it from that first tab. Just save it into a new tab. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started stitching. And my shirt today, it's actually super stormy here today, so I'm wearing a rain shirt. It's got little rain boots on it. Isn't that just the cutest thing ever? I put vinyl on it so that it's slick like rain boots. And I added wording to it. I will add all the information under this video. I think the shirt I got from Fred Meyer a few years ago, but it's a really cute design. I don't recall off the top of my head who it's from, but I will add all the information underneath this video. And how are you doing with your goal? I have to tell you, I did nothing toward my goal this last week. So we went to Hawaii. I will add some photos of our wonderful vacation. We had so much fun. And I didn't log any of my food in that. I'm using that My Food Diary, My Net Diary. I don't remember what it's called. I'll add information, but I've been logging in all my foods and doing really good with my workouts and losing some weight. And I didn't do any of that on vacation. None. I ate all kinds of junk food. It was very bad. So today we got home and I immediately got on my indoor bike because it's stormy outside. So I did a good workout today I did an advanced cycling workout, and then I also did a weight training one, and unfortunately I pulled something in my back, which isn't great, but I got 2 good workouts. I was pretty happy about that, and I'm back on my little food app where I'm logging in all my food and my water and getting sleep and doing all the things. So I'm back from vacation. We had so much fun, I have to tell you. We did some amazing things. So we did this kayak trip that, oh my gosh, it was a very fun excursion, and yet it was a total marriage test, like seriously a marriage test. We could not get the hang of trying to row together in this kayak, and we're like aiming toward trees and brush that we're going to run into. And I'm like, so what happened is we put me in the front, and the front person is the one that really does the work with the rowing, and the one in the back acts as a rudder and helps to navigate and keep the boat straight. And we did not do good at this at all. We were literally like zigzagging through the entire river and working so hard at trying to get to the end destination and just going zigzagging all over. It was really, really hard. And my husband was so funny because I was working so hard. I had blisters and I'm like working every muscle to paddle us there. And so he's yelling out, well, then you'll be in the back in the next on the way back, and you'll see that how hard it is. I'm like, okay, great, because this is not working, right? So we get to the destination and you hike over these muddy rocks that are slippery and scary, and it's beautiful. You're in this jungle. It's absolutely incredible. And then you get through this, like, I think it was a 2-mile hike or a 1.5-mile hike, and you get to the end point of that, and it's this beautiful waterfall, amazing, beautiful waterfall. It was really, really, really cool. And then you hike back out, and then you kayak back. I think it's 2-mile kayak if you're going straight, which we certainly didn't. So anyway, we get down, we're doing the kayak, and we decide to put me in the back this time and put him in the front, and he's working hard. And I didn't just act as a rudder. I was like, yeah, no. So I paddled us as well also, and I yelled out like, left only, because to try and get us straight. And I didn't have to rudder one time. Ruddering is where you put the paddle in and you just kind of stop the kayak, and he was doing that a lot on the way there, but on the way back I didn't need to do that. And we still didn't go perfectly straight by any means, but we were not zigzagging around. And so it was definitely easier on the way back. We started getting the hang of how to do it, but it was a really interesting excursion. It was super fun. We enjoyed it a lot and we learned a lot from it. So we did that, and then just to have another marriage test, we actually rented a tandem bicycle, which I've never been on a tandem. He hasn't either. And that was really funny too. So I'm the cyclist, right? I've literally ridden probably 76,000 miles in the last 16 years, lots of cycling. So we put me in the front thinking, oh, I'll know how to do this. And I had no idea. Like, I was way setting myself up to fail by being in the front of this thing. And I can just imagine like him getting mad at me, and like it was not a good idea. And I'm a cyclist. I have clips on my shoes that clip into the pedals, and you use your quadriceps and also your hamstrings to pull up on those pedals. So I get on this cheapy bike, and I didn't even know how to get the wheels to get started. The pedals, I wasn't attached to them. It was just not in my wheelhouse. I had no idea what I was doing. It was not going to work. I was afraid of making us flop over and hurt us. And so we ended up putting my husband in front, and he was like a natural at it. He did really good. It was like, think of like a 7-year-old kid out on a bicycle. Like, he was like, yeah, this is great. There was no getting in his head and getting all worried about how to do it. It was super funny. So he did great at it and navigated us no problem. He got upset because he thought I was pedaling too hard, which I really wasn't, but I can see him being concerned that I would, but I really didn't. But anyway, so that was another marriage test, and we did really well with that. It was really, really fun, and a lot of just laying out at the pool and enjoying sunshine and quiet and peace, and it was really fun. We did a very inexpensive trip to Hawaii this time, and we got a condo, so a timeshare from his sister, that it was like $400 for the entire week in Hawaii. I mean, like, it was insane. A 2-bedroom condo. It was super nice, like no problem at all. We had that, and then we had points for travel, so our airfare was free. I mean, it was just a very inexpensive trip. And we even, like, we went to the grocery store and we bought frozen meals, and we ate that almost every night. So, I mean, very cheap way to go to Hawaii, and Kauai, especially Kauai. It's so beautiful. And so it was an amazing trip, had a wonderful time, took lots of photos, did lots of hikes. We had a really good time and ate so much junk food. Oh boy, so much junk food. Should not have done that. But now I'm back at it, working hard at fixing it. So how are you doing with your goal? Hopefully you did a lot better at it this week than I did.